is the series that became the tropical survivor shooter. Starting back in 2004, gamers have enjoyed not only 4 main titles, but also 7 spin-offs. 12 years down the line, and it's now one of the biggest series in gaming, and has made its mark in the industry for its exotic locations and unique open-ended gameplay. If you haven't guessed it by now, we're talking about Far Cry. And on N2K, we're heading back to the very beginning to explore how the series has got to where it is today. The first in the franchise came from developers Crytek Studios. It immediately set itself apart from other games with its unique choice of location, a tropical paradise laced with hidden evil. With the mysterious archipelago in Micronesia providing the setting, players were invited to take on the role of ex-Special Forces operator Jack Carver. The mission? To save a missing female journalist. But while the goal remained the same throughout, players were given the choice of how to make their way across the vast island. This open-ended structure set a precedent within the series and meant that player choice ruled supreme. Every single objective could be tackled in multiple ways, from all-out assault to stealthy sneak attack. In 2008, Far Cry 2 took that template and shook up the game. Not only was the protagonist Jack cut from the series, but also developers Crytek. Ubisoft took the reins as developer, and the publisher put its Montreal studio to work on the second installment. FC2 built on the foundations that Crytek laid down in 2004, but gave it some new twists. But these adjustments were tiny compared to the massive change in setting. Gone were the shimmering seas and sandy beaches of the tropical island, and in its place was a vast swathe of African terrain, complete with dusty savannas, dense forests and dilapidated towns. With so much ground to cover, Ubisoft Montreal had to find new ways for players to get around. Cars, trucks, boats and even hang gliders hit the franchise, and they've been a mainstay ever since. Far Cry 3 in 2012 saw the series return to its tropical roots on a lonely island in the Pacific Ocean. But while the surrounds may have been familiar, the story was anything but, as vacationer Jason Brody found himself stranded amongst the island's crazed inhabitants. And for the first time in the series, Ubisoft introduced character progression. This meant that players could tailor Jason's abilities to their playstyle, making him more efficient in firefights, ruthless at close quarters, or deadlier from a distance. Jamie Keane, lead game designer on Far Cry 3, says the franchise is all about looking at the full picture.
Far Cry is a game all about choice, and it's something that we hold very, very dear to our hearts. We talk a lot in the dev team about this 360-degree approach, and that colours a lot of stuff. That colours the actual level design in the game world for us when we're making the game. It also colours the way that we want you as players to play the game as well.
Far Cry 4 in 2014 took the series up into the mountain ranges of the Himalayas and the fictional country of Kyrat. Ruled by violent king Pagan Min, players had to help the resistance take their homeland back from this despotic monarch. As ever, FC4 played to the series' greatest strength, versatility. But thanks to the mountainous terrain, players could literally scale new heights in exploration and combat. With countless opportunities available to the player, diversity became one of the Far Cry franchise's biggest assets. And diversity is exactly what Ubisoft transplanted into their next game in the series. From the plains of Africa to the islands in the Pacific to now, with Far Cry Primal, the mythical world of Oros. For this upcoming game in the series, this is a drastic change in setting. Primal takes players to 10,000 BC, the time of the Stone Age. While it may seem like a drastic shift, game director Thomas Simon thinks primitive times fit the game's sometimes savage nature.
Why the Stone Age for Far Cry? I would say why not. For me, it seems clear that it's the perfect setting for a Far Cry. For Far Cry, we always look for places where we can take the player into the frontier, a place where law and order are really in a gray zone, exotic location, and this is really what's period we've chosen is Stone Age, is the first time when man started to settle, so owning places, so it's the origin of conflict. It also comes with a beautiful exotic location, very dangerous and beautiful wildlife. That's ideal for us. It's really a perfect setup for a Far Cry.
Primal is somewhat of a departure from the long-running series, as it completely abandons guns in favour of bows and throws away all modern elements. Although, despite this, Thomas Simons says that the pillars of a Far Cry game are still in place.
Far Cry is really about authenticity in terms of setup. It has to bring you into a place that feels that you can relate to. So that's why we went to a lot of extent to create a believable experience for Primal, recreating a language, trying to bring the Stone Age to life with the help of specialists. Another aspect of a Far Cry game that for me across all Far Cry is really that freedom we give to the player and the systemic approach to all gameplay mechanics. Far Cry is literally the big ecosystem of gameplay mechanics that all interact with each other, creating lots of unexpected moments, the player being in the middle of that. I think that's what defines a Far Cry for me.
Like all previous Far Crys, each one has brought something completely new to the franchise. And this time around, we see the introduction of the Beastmaster. Previous Far Crys saw hints of this, the ability to lure animals into certain areas, but they were never actually under the player's control. Primal has given animals a lot more power, and the role of Beastmaster allows the player to take full control of a tamed predator.
At the core of the game, there's really the relation between man and animal through the hunt, and we wanted to explore also a part that is less aggressive and more collaborative. So that's where we started to explore the Beastmastery aspect. So the player is going to be able to tame systemically, so really as he roams the world, every predator he meets, provided he has the skill for it. So by luring an animal with a piece of meat, calming it down, you're going to be able to get close enough to tame it. And as soon as it's tamed, it's available at will. We wanted the mechanic to be very fluid, very like switching weapons, because each animal is going to be different in terms of abilities, passive skills, bonus they can give you, or the type of play style they can help you practice. So it's going to be very fluid after that. You're going to be able to whistle and dismiss your saber-tooth and call a cave bear because you wanted to go more for assaults, or the other way around if you want to use a feline because they are good for stealth. This is really, it becomes very fluid and very seamless after that.
But is this alternatively styled Far Cry game an altogether bold new direction for the franchise? According to Thomas, Far Cry's defining point is not limited to its location. The team at Ubisoft take the franchise where they see that it will thrive the most.
Far Cry is really a branch where the key point is the creativity of the team. We will go where the creativity of the team will take us. We've explored places in the world that we live in now, always trying to find some weird places or weird people. We're doing nothing different with Primal. The fact that it's 12,000 years ago doesn't make the game less grounded in a gritty reality. That's what we like to explore. And if it means going to the Stone Age, we'll go to the Stone Age and we'll see where it takes us next.